Welcome to Depth of Field FlickFix, it's Kayvon. At the beginning of the film, we are introduced to a young girl named Jane Foster, accompanied by her professor and assistant. They are conducting research beneath the open sky when suddenly they witness a luminous light descending from above. As they watch in awe, a colossal tornado materializes before them. Emerging from within the tempest is a man, completely unclothed, prompting the professor to provide him with garments. With this event, the narrative transitions to a flashback, taking us to a scene set in Midgard, a celestial realm known as Asgard. The earthly realm, referred to as Midgard, lies beneath Asgard. In an attempt to conquer Midgard, a group of frost giants launches an attack. However, their plans are thwarted by Odin, the king of Asgard, who engages in a fierce battle against the giants and emerges victorious. The leader of these giants is named Loki. King Odin decisively defeats Loki, who possesses a perilous weapon. King Odin claims the weapon, which holds immense power that can be harnessed by any leader. Each kingdom possesses its own unique weapon, and this particular one possesses the ability to freeze anything. King Odin brings the weapon back with him to Asgard as he arrives at the castle. Within the castle, we encounter his two sons, Thor and Loki. King Odin informs his sons that he will take them to a chamber where he has gathered various weapons. As they enter the chamber, they come across Mjolnir, the hammer of Thor that will play a significant role in future events. Additionally, they find a cosmic cube among the assortment. Many years pass, and both Thor and Loki mature into adulthood. The present day marks the momentous occasion when King Odin is to announce Thor as the new king. A gathering of individuals awaits the announcement, eagerly anticipating King Odin's proclamation of Thor's ascension to the throne. A colossal predicament arises as the frost giants launch an attack in a bid to reclaim their stolen weapons. In response, the king commands his formidable security guard, known as the Destroyer, to eliminate the invaders swiftly. The Destroyer successfully vanquishes the frost giants, allowing the king, Thor, and Loki to proceed to the chamber where their weapons are stored. Fortunately, their weapon is intact and present. Thor, fueled by a desire for retribution, urges his father to let him confront the frost giants, but his father prohibits him, emphasizing the importance of safeguarding the weapon. Undeterred, Thor asserts that he will venture to the frost giants' realm to prevent future attacks. Thor gathers his companions and implores them to join him in an assault on Loki's kingdom. With their agreement, they set forth on their journey. Upon arrival, they encounter a sentinel guarding a bridge, a crucial pathway to reach Loki's kingdom. This sentinel is a trusted confidant of King Odin, equipped with a sword that can unlock the passage to the kingdom. Thor ventures further into the kingdom and discovers its emptiness. He bellows, tauntingly questioning the absence of his adversaries, challenging them to face him. Suddenly, Loki emerges before Thor, proclaiming that fear is not a factor and warning him of his grave error in coming there. At that moment, Thor's brother, Loki, steps forward, pleading for forgiveness and proposing their departure. However, Loki dismisses the notion and commands his frost giants to attack. In the ensuing chaos, Thor utilizes his thunderous powers to vanquish their foes, engaging in a fierce battle. During the skirmish, one of the frost giants seizes Loki, causing his hand to transform to resemble theirs, casting doubt on their victory. Just as the situation appears dire, an enormous monstrous creature emerges from Loki's kingdom, poised to strike. Unfazed, Thor fearlessly enters the creature's maw and emerges from its body, tearing it apart and bringing about its demise. The ferocity of their actions incites the wrath of the inhabitants of Loki's kingdom, who surge forward, intent on annihilating Thor and his comrades. However, their imminent demise is thwarted when King Odin arrives on the scene. With unwavering courage, Thor addresses Loki, challenging him, "Now, what will you do?" Surprisingly, King Odin's presence in the situation unfolds differently from Thor's expectations. Rather than engaging in a confrontation, King Odin appears to extend an apology to Loki, seeking a resolution to the conflict and ensuring the safe return of his team and sons. He acknowledges the mistake made and implores Loki to allow them to depart peacefully. However, Loki remains resolute, declaring that death is the punishment for their initial attack, denying them the opportunity to leave unharmed. Recognizing the futility of diplomacy, King Odin employs his magical abilities to transport his team back to Asgard, away from the perilous situation. However, upon their return, Thor's demeanor turns disrespectful and confrontational. He questions his father's assistance, claiming that he was on the verge of victory and questioning the necessity of the apology. Thor asserts that his father's interference was unnecessary, believing himself capable of handling the situation alone. In response, King Odin reprimands Thor for his disrespectful behavior, reminding him of his responsibilities. Thor defiantly challenges his father, demanding to know what he should do. King Odin sternly states that he will determine the course of action. King Odin forcibly strips Thor of his attire, powers, and even his beloved hammer. In a moment of retribution, Thor is banished to Midgard, commonly known as Earth, cast down from the realm of Asgard. His hammer is also cast away to an unknown location. King Odin declares that the hammer shall remain, awaiting the one who is truly worthy to wield it. Only the individual who proves themselves deserving will have the ability to lift the hammer. Until Thor proves himself worthy, he is denied access to it. In the subsequent scene, Thor awakens in a hospital, surrounded by doctors, Jane Foster, and his assistant. Confused and agitated, he demands to know his location. Reacting with anger, he violently escapes from the hospital. The narrative then shifts to the site where Mjolnir, Thor's hammer, has fallen. The impact of its landing devastates the surrounding area, and a shield manifests, encapsulating the hammer. A curious agent arrives at the scene, clearly intrigued by the newfound presence of the hammer. The agent's curiosity drives him to seek out Jane Foster, as he believes she may possess knowledge about the hammer. Despite Jane's protests, the agent enters her home and confiscates her research book, which contains valuable information about the hammer. Meanwhile, Thor becomes aware of the existence of his hammer through the widespread news coverage of its appearance. After leaving the hospital, he encounters perplexed onlookers who find his inquiry about a horse amusing, as horses are not commonly seen in this era. In the midst of this, Jane approaches Thor and offers him a ride in her car, suggesting that she can take him to the location where his hammer is being held. However, she requests that he refrain from drawing unnecessary attention. Upon arriving at the site, they discover that Thor's hammer is heavily guarded, making it nearly impossible for anyone to access it. In an act of determination, Thor engages in a fierce confrontation, overpowering and eliminating the security guards and individuals who stand in his way, as they have wrongfully taken possession of his hammer. Finally, Thor arrives at the location of the hammer, filled with hope and anticipation. However, his joy turns into disappointment as he struggles to lift the hammer, unable to prove himself worthy. Overwhelmed by sadness and anger, Thor's emotions consume him. In the midst of his turmoil, agents from S.H.I.E.L.D. arrive at the scene and promptly imprison Thor. To his surprise, Thor finds Loki also incarcerated. Loki approaches him, accusing Thor of being responsible for their father's death. King Odin passed away due to the worries and concerns caused by Thor's actions. Thor is overcome with sorrow, realizing the gravity of his misbehavior towards his father. Lost in his thoughts, he grapples with regret and remorse. Later that night, the professor who accompanied Jane Foster arrives at the jail, presenting a forged ID card claiming Thor's release. He confesses that it was a mistake, as he was unaware of the restricted nature of the area. Thor seizes the opportunity to escape with the professor. They find solace in drink, but the professor soon loses his composure. Thor takes him to Jane Foster's residence, where they sit and engage in conversation while the professor rests. Curious about Thor's origins, Jane inquires, "Tell me about yourself. Where do you come from?" Thor earnestly explains to Jane that he is the son of a king and hails from a kingdom of his own. However, Jane finds his claims amusing and chuckles in disbelief. Undeterred, Thor takes it upon himself to visually demonstrate his point. He sketches a diagram depicting the 9 realms, including Earth, Midgard, and his own realm, Asgard. As the scene transitions, we find ourselves in Asgard, where Loki spreads a false rumor that King Odin has perished, though he is actually unconscious. Loki cunningly positions himself near the incapacitated king, contemplating his sinister plan to eliminate King Odin. He desires to prevent Loki, who is not of royal blood, from ascending the throne. In his quest for power, Loki intends to rule Asgard, especially with Thor's absence on Earth. He ventures into the forest, seeking out the device capable of freezing objects. Loki, wielding the weapon he acquired from Loki, proceeds to the location where the security guard stands, guarding the pathway. Despite Loki's request, the guard refuses to grant him entry. Unperturbed, Loki employs the weapon's freezing abilities to immobilize the guard, allowing him to pass. Carrying the guard's sword, Loki makes his way to Loki's kingdom. There, he proposes a deal to Loki. If Loki assassinates King Odin, Loki promises to return his weapon and restore his powers, while also securing his own ascension to the throne. Intrigued by the proposition, Loki accepts the deal, recognizing the potential benefits it offers him. Loki returns to Asgard, his plan set in motion. Meanwhile, Thor's loyal companions confront Loki, expressing their concern over his devious intentions. They rebuke him for his treacherous behavior and refuse to remain silent. However, Loki silences them, proclaiming his imminent rise to power and warning them to stay quiet. Unbeknownst to Loki, Thor's brave friends embark on a journey to Midgard, determined to inform Thor of Loki's nefarious plans. They reveal the extent of Loki's plot to Thor, ensuring that he is aware of the imminent danger. Driven by his desire for power, Loki orchestrates a scheme to eliminate Thor and secure his own path to the throne. Upon learning of Loki's malicious intentions, Thor becomes consumed by anger and determination. Recognizing the imminent danger posed by Loki, the deceitful trickster seeks out the assistance of the formidable security guard known as the Destroyer, a metallic being under his command. Loki orders the Destroyer to travel to Midgard and eliminate Thor and his loyal companions. The Destroyer obeys Loki's command and confronts Thor's friends, poised to strike them down. However, in a dramatic turn of events, Thor bravely steps forward, challenging the Destroyer to face him instead. Despite his injuries and the absence of his attire and hammer, Thor's unwavering courage compels him to stand against his formidable opponent. Unfazed by Thor's defiance, the Destroyer strikes him, causing Thor to be thrown back. In that critical moment, a miraculous occurrence unfolds, a realization dawns upon Thor. King Odin's words echo in his mind, reminding him that he can only wield the hammer when he becomes deserving of its power. In a selfless act of sacrifice for the sake of his friends, Thor has proven himself worthy. As a result, the hammer returns to him, accompanied by his restored attire. With the hammer in his grasp, Thor is infused with newfound strength and resilience. Empowered by his regained abilities, Thor stands tall, ready to face any challenge that comes his way. Thor, wielding his mighty hammer, engages in a fierce battle with the Destroyer. With each powerful strike, Thor overcomes the formidable adversary, ultimately defeating and destroying the metallic entity. Reunited with his team, they make their way back to Asgard. Meanwhile, the security guard, who had been frozen by Loki, manages to break free from the ice that had ensnared him. He regains control of the situation and opens a path for Thor, aiding his return to Asgard. As Thor and his companions arrive in Asgard, they find themselves amidst a tense confrontation. The people from Loki's kingdom, who had followed Loki's orders, are poised to attack King Odin. However, Loki, seeking to impress his father, cunningly turns the tables on Loki, deceiving him and ultimately causing his demise. With Loki defeated, Loki proceeds towards the bridge, intent on activating a dangerous beam that would bring destruction and solidify his rule over Asgard. In his arrogance, Loki believes that no one can stand in his way. But Thor, fueled by his determination to stop his treacherous brother, confronts Loki. Thor warns Loki that his reign of tyranny will not go unchallenged. Unfazed, Loki insists on extracting the beams to fulfill his destructive plan. In response, Thor accepts the challenge, summoning the full power of his hammer. With a mighty strike, Thor shatters the bridge, disrupting Loki's malevolent intentions and foiling his attempt to seize control. As the bridge crumbles, Loki is taken aback by the unexpected turn of events. The impending fall threatens both Thor and Loki, but in the nick of time, King Odin appears. He reaches out and grasps Thor's hand, ensuring their safety. However, Loki, realizing that his attempts to impress his father have failed, releases his grip and allows himself to fall. News quickly spreads that Loki has met his demise, having plunged from the broken bridge. But in a surprising twist, it is revealed that Loki has managed to survive. In the aftermath of the confrontation, King Odin approaches Thor, expressing his desire to witness his son's ascent to kingship during his own lifetime. Thor, acknowledging the weight of his responsibilities and the challenges that lie ahead, humbly states that he must undertake significant tasks and prove himself worthy before assuming the mantle of kingship. And so, the story concludes with the revelation that Loki is still alive, his fate unknown, while Thor embarks on a journey of growth and transformation, driven by his determination to become a worthy successor to his father, King Odin. Thanks for watching Depth of Field FlickFix.